Yes. Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So nice to see all of you here and so many of you. My name is Niv Fuchs. I'm the Festival Director of Leiden Shorts, and I'd like to welcome you to the first day of ESP Coproduction Forum and Leiden Shorts Industry Days. We're absolutely thrilled to open this event together. Before we start, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on how this partnership actually began. So about a year and a half ago, Julie Marnet and I ran into each other at Winterthur Film Festival. While both of us were rushing between meetings, Julie shared that after several years in France, ESP was considering a new home. Leiden Short was just at the beginning of a new chapter where we were reimagining and re-examining our structure, vision, and asking ourselves some fundamental questions about where we wish to go, so the timing to explore this new edition fit perfectly. At the time, two things became immediately clear in our first conversation. First, this could be a huge production headache. Second, and more importantly, it will be an invaluable opportunity to collaborate in a way that aligns deeply with our mission to support emerging film talent by offering more space, visibility, and guidance. We all learned a lot about the value of collaboration, trust, and open exchange, which we developed between our teams. In many ways, this was a co-production of its own, all leading to this moment where we offer ESP and all of you a home in Leiden for the next few days. In recent years, ESP has been setting new standards for short film development in Europe, becoming one of the leading initiatives in the field. It offers an in-depth, highly professional program that provides up-and-coming filmmakers and producers a solid introduction to the short film industry, supporting promotion, visibility, networking, and knowledge exchange. Naturally, this is something we were eager to be part of and to help shape and grow further. It has truly been an honor to collaborate on that. We're particularly excited by the idea that together with ESP, we can now offer local filmmakers an opportunity to connect with the international professionals right at the doorstep, while also building a dynamic platform to engage with voices and talents from across Europe and beyond. This year, we've expanded the program to include even more opportunities for industry discussion and panels now open to all accredited professionals, from leading festival representatives sharing insights on navigating the festival circuit to reimagining the short film format and exploring the power of locally rooted storytelling. We're proud to offer a space for meaningful dialogue and exchange. A special mark of ESP is the care, attention to detail, and welcoming atmosphere the team cultivates. I'm sure you've already felt it or will soon. So a big thank you to the entire ESP team for this collaboration. Julie, Olga, Oana, Lauma, Pauline, and Filomena, thank you so much. Yes. On our side, this effort also required a lot of dedication, and I'd like especially to thank Tassos Malios, our industry coordinator, for your determination and hard work. Thank you also, Maria Stanchelesco, our industry assistant, Stavros Markolakis, program director, Jeroen van Aken, partnerships manager, and Hedda Peters, our designer and social media coordinator. We're also incredibly grateful to the local partners who help us maintain the high standards of the ESP Co-Production Forum and offer this opportunity to the local industry. To NL Film Funds, the Eurafte, Municipality of Leiden, CNL, Screen Talent NL, NAPA, the Netherlands Audiovisual Producers Alliance, Holland Park and Media and Star Show for their technical support. A very special thanks to Plant and Midi for hosting us in these beautiful spaces and for your patience and flexibility with all our needs. We would like to show a short clip introducing Plant's work.
Plant, a place for everyone, for those who want to grow, discover, learn, and do. In Leiden, where history is rich in innovation, what you think, they do. They are change makers. They see the world through fresh eyes, with their heads up in the sky, reaching for the unknown, thinking radically different, shattering the status quo. Dreamers and doers, improvers and problem finders, but at Plant, they come together to make a difference. It's about making an impact, on you, but especially on the world of tomorrow. Call them digital natives. They are innovators, change makers with ambitious plans, a close-knit community that builds on each other, that dares to realize groundbreaking concepts, big or small, with worldwide impact. Plant this in the back of your mind because you will hear from them. We believe in the power of ideas that can change the world. That is Plant. We are Plant. And we believe that where worlds meet, growth follows.
So thank you all. I wish you a few days of rich, productive, and truly enjoyable experiences. Thank you.
So, my name is Julie Marnet. I'm the head of European Short Pitch, and welcome to the 2025 edition of European Short Pitch, our co-production forum, in collaboration with, we are delighted, Leiden Shorts. Today marks the beginning of 4 exciting days dedicated to building industry connection, both here in Leiden, but also online. It's also the culmination of a journey that began in January for the 12 projects selected at development stage, and more recently for the 4 works in progress that joined us. Over these past months, participants have gone through script development, editing sessions, and market preparation. It was an intense journey to shape and strengthen their stories. Today, we are pleased to give them a very warm welcome and a meaningful space to present their projects, build new connections, expand their international and European networks. We are very proud as well that ESP remains true to its value of openness and that the project selected this year truly reflects Europe's diversity and beyond, create dialogues, open the eyes. We would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the brilliant consultants and experts who accompanied them in this adventure. For script, there was Patricia Dorati, Naïm Maboub, and Laure Desmazières, Jennifer Saba-Imagine for production, Faye Briman, who is in the room for pitch training, Catalin Cristiuciu for editing, Keral Pons-Serra for distribution and marketing, and we had 2 marvelous guest speakers, Simon Jacquemet for artificial intelligence, and Eva Bojanowska for audience design. We are also very glad to welcome a great jury this year, composed of the none less great Alessia Acone, IFFR Pro Manager. They're in the room, we can... Juliette Canon, responsible for short films at Semaine de la Critique in Cannes. And Carla Fotea, who is a producer for microfilms in Romania. Romania, France, Italy, Netherlands. And ESP is supported by the Creative Europe program of the European Union. That's very important to remind that. And after having traveled in Europe since the inception of the program, that was in 2007, this is the first year that our co-production forum is taking place in Leiden. We are really delighted with this new collaboration and the space that Leiden is dedicating to ESP, welcoming us as part of their industry days. We find ourselves in a kind, warm place where our team share a common vision on cinema and on how to support the filmmakers, and the creative minds, and the producers as well. We would like to thank all the local and national partners that Niamh has mentioned. So I won't mention them again. Mentioning also that via our partnership with Screen Talent NL initiative, we are also welcoming in this co-production forum a delegation of 8 talented Dutch filmmakers that are participating in the co-production activity, so you can meet them. They are here. And another thanks goes to International Kunstvintage Winter Tour, via which we have selected one of our projects, Memories from the Beyond. And other, we want to thank also all the great collaborative initiative via which ESP participants can benefit from further opportunities to develop their projects. And besides the European Short Pitch Award, participants will compete for the Music and Cinema Award, so big thanks to them. And also big thanks to Ben Vendendale, who is handling a Radiator IP Sales Distribution Award and a Post-Production Award, the PAC. So thank you very much. Now, very attentive audience. We will start. So the pitch session will last for around 3 hours. It will be divided into 3 blocks. We will have 2 breaks. The event is also streamed on the ESP platform for online attendees. Each pitch is followed by a Q&A that we will moderate with my dearest Olga Lamontanara, the head of the Co-Production Forum. And I think we will start. Our participants might be very excited, and we are so excited also to welcome them. So yeah, give them a big round of applause. They deserve it. And thank you.
Everyone, from me too. And so, with no further ado, let's start with our first project in development. I'm happy to welcome on stage from Slovenia the team of the film Albania Mon Amour, director Filip Jembri and co-writer Ela Božić.
Hi everybody, my name is Filip Jembri, I'm the director of Albania Mon Amour, and this is
Ela Božić, I am the screenwriter.
So, I have a crazy friend, a young Slovenian woman, who had an even crazier plan. And her plan was to go to Albania, where her partner, I mean her girlfriend, would get married to an unknown Albanian man for money. She would receive no less than 8,000 euros for her new nose job, and he would get an European green card. And at first they took this plan a bit too lightly, of course, until they had to do it.
In a small seaside Albanian town of Vlore, we follow a young Slovenian couple, Iris and Ana, who are spending their day. They are consulting a fortune teller, shopping, dancing their night away at a nightclub, and it all seems just like a regular couple on a romantic holiday. But it's not so simple. The next morning, Ana has to marry Bekim, an Albanian man. He gets a green card and she gets 8,000 euros. So while they are romantically exploring the city, this wedding kind of looms above their heads like the apocalypse. And they have to figure out if they can kind of accept these changes that are coming to their relationship. It also disrupts their unbearable lightness of being. So while the clock ticks, Ana tries to convince Iris that nothing is going to change. Iris tries to figure out if she can deal with this thing that is coming into their lives. And all of this before this biggest business deal of their lives, the wedding, takes place.
In the focus of our film, it's a deteriorating love relationship between our two main characters, Ana and Iris. But we also shed light on some themes like immigration, poverty in the Balkans, and the big corruption that makes it all possible, status of LGBTQ community in the region, and on ideas of Western individuality. I want to make a film of emotional states, both for me and for my characters and for my audience. It is a poetic film made up of fragments, made up of scenes that flow into each other like memories. And instead of dialogue, we are led by colors, thoughts, and flickering lights. And at the end, it's a story about love and why does it hurt so bad. Thank you.
So we would also like to welcome on stage the producer, Sonia Proshank, and say hello, or maybe you can join the producer rock session. The group. So, we start with the first question. The initial inspiration was the real life story of Philip's friends. But actually, why did you both feel drawn to this event and characters and compelled to turn them into a film?
We felt like this was such an interesting story because it kind of intertwines a lot of themes and makes for a complex film. I think the whole lightness of it, the way the girls kind of go into it without really thinking about it and then realizing that maybe, you know, a nose job is not maybe worth it. But at the same time, yeah, it says a lot about Europe today, I think, and the way we lead such different lives in this group of countries that are here. And I think we tried to explore it in a way that felt natural for us, which was more, I guess, poetic. So, yeah.
Thank you. And Philip, so as you mentioned a little bit in your presentation, the film will be a slice of life kind of film and not follow a linear narrative. How do you envision it in terms of directing and cinematography? And also maybe what about the cast? How do you think to work?
Good question. Because it's, let's say, a specific type of, even the script, it's written in non-narrative way. It is, I think that most of my job is going to be done in rehearsing with the actors, and also I will talk a little bit later about how to get the proper actors. Because even though we have a strong script and a clear idea what we want, the most of the film is going to be laid upon the actors to get things done as I want them to do it, and to get to that point, I need to create a relationship between two of them, which is hard, but I know with time and with meticulous practicing we can achieve that. So the casting is going to be one of the most important things in the pre-production. I'm thinking about it almost every day. But I would like to choose non-actors for the role, because I think it's gonna be more of a journey together to get to this point that we create this relationship. So yeah, this is what I'm envisioning for this. Yeah.
Thank you. And Sonia? You're here with your producer hat. You are a successful director yourself. Can include rock in this question, but not as a director. Why did you decide to produce Albania Mon Amour? And how do you plan to accompany Philip and Ella in the next steps?
So up until now, I have only produced my own films together with Rock as the main producer. And a while ago, I had an opportunity to see presentations of short films in development at our National Film Festival, like this, but much smaller. And when Ella and Philip presented their project, I was completely mesmerized. And for the first time, I felt this spark, you know, to help somebody else bring their vision, their really unique vision to screen. And this is what our job is. And yeah, I mean, for me, what inspired me so much when also I got to know the project more deeply is how they are creating this love story, which is beautiful and painfully beautiful, but at the same time so politically resonant. And I think this combination was something that fascinated me.
And so where do you stand with the project now, and who are you looking for here?
Actually, I think this week we will get results from our film fund. So we will have maybe even more information tomorrow for one-to-one meetings. Maybe we will have the results tomorrow already, which would be a great help. And what I think, or what we think this project needs is a really good editor, and a music composer. And this is something that we have been saving for a co-producer, and we only want to have one co-production country. And in Albania, we will have a service company. So what we are looking for is a co-producer, a sales agent that can help us bring their, vision to screen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Big round of applause for the first team to open.
And they are done. And now we are going to Finland, and I call on stage Anna Oviti, the director of Things That Can Ruin a Picnic.
Hi, I'm Hanna Hovitie. I'm a filmmaker from Finland. My background is in documentary, but I'm here to present my first fiction short film called Things That Can Ruin a Picnic, which is a 15-minute short comedy with musical elements. And the story is about a couple in their 30s, Pihla and Niko, who are on a picnic date, enjoying a particularly beautiful summer day, and everything is perfect until Niko asks the question, "Don't you think it's time for us to have kids already?" Pihla, who is the main character of the story, is an adventurer. She's an ambitious, emerging artist, and she's also in the middle of the so-called 30s crisis, of kind of being in the middle of you can be anything you want to be in life, and I'm actually not quite where I thought I would be by now. Afraid of making any big choices that will potentially hold her back, she tries to avoid this topic that Niko has brought up. And in the meantime, Niko, who is a naive romantic, bored of his regular job at the library, seems quite set on the idea of how much fun it would be to get a new playmate. So while their conversation unfolds, the two of them kind of try to use different tactics to steer the conversation their way. And at the same time, the unpredictable Nordic summer presents some other challenges, whether it's insects or noise pollution or an unexpected change in the weather, or perhaps the worst of all, other people at the park. Pihla's experience of this picnic, kind of slowly turning from a dream into a nightmare, is narrated by a choir that sings these hymn-like songs that list, on the one hand, her desires, and on the other hand, her fears. And to me, this is a story about fear of making these big, potentially life-altering decisions of, if I choose one path, what will I lose on the other one? And yeah, that fear is deeply personal to me as a 34-year-old millennial. But I also feel like it defines my entire generation somehow, especially when it comes to this question of having kids. Thank you.
So please join Hanna on stage, the producer, Mete Sasioglu. So Hanna, at the center of the film there is this dilemma of parenthood that like a lot of people and especially women can really relate to very much. Why did you choose to tell this story through a musical comedy?
Yeah, excellent question. So maybe rather than working in a specific genre, I actually just, since it's my first fiction film, I just really wanted to tell an honest story. So I took that dilemma that's very much present in my personal life, and I started to kind of process it by writing it down. And then maybe some of you know this Charlie Chaplin quote of that life looks like a tragedy up close, but a comedy from afar. And I think the act of writing became my act of looking at it from afar, and it just turned out a comedy. And the musical part is actually came to be very naturally because I was on one of my sort of scouting or research picnics for the film, and I actually spotted an a cappella group rehearsing in a park, so I just kind of wrote it in, and then later on it got worked into this story tool, like this comedic tool of having a peek into Pihla's head where the story actually takes place.
And so, Anna, you are now venturing into a new territory with this film. You are coming from documentary and you are stepping into fiction. And so how does this project connect to or differ from your previous work? And how do you envision the directing and visual style of the film?
Yeah, well, I think that my approach in documentary directing was always a little bit in between the genres. So rather than doing the kind of more classical observational documentary, I would actually work in a way that's maybe closer to fiction, like to sort of work in close collaboration with the people, with the characters, and like plan scenes and shoot them. So in that sense, I feel like the departure from that to fiction is, at the end of the day, not that drastic to me. But with this project, I'm really excited to sort of embrace the subjective and also like play with really be able to play with the fantastical side of things, and really just also to have fun.
Great, that's the best. So, Mette, you are in early stages in terms of financing, right? So what's the plan, and again, what kind of partners are you looking for?
Hello. Yeah, this is first time I'm working together with Hanna, and I have to say I'm super happy and excited for this film, and also kind of connect with the story myself. But as Olga said, we are quite in early stage. So Hanna got a scriptwriting grant from Finnish Film Foundation, which is a good sign. And after European Short Pitch, we are going to go to look for a distributor or broadcaster from Finland, then to be access to the production funding. And we plan to do this with a budget of 120,000 euros. Plan to shoot it 1 year from now, not this summer, but next summer, hopefully. And yeah, we are looking for co-producers, and we have a potential DOP in UK that we would like to work with. So UK is one option, but that being said, we are also open for any countries that have some 30 plus people a bit confused about their future. So feel free to reach us. Also, if you are a festival or distributor, feel free to approach us and join our picnic. Thank you.
Thank you. And we move on to another project now, from transitioning from documentary to fiction to an actual documentary. We welcome the project Inside with director Dorota Vlnova from Slovakia.
Hi, hello. Thank you for attending in such large number, which is also a bit terrifying for me. My name is Dorota Vlnova. I'm the director of the creative documentary short that is expected to be 15 minutes long. And let me start by asking you a question. How many people do you personally know who have experienced abortion? Well, I dare to say that the actual number is much higher than the one you are thinking of right now. And why is that? Well, the short answer would be shame and stigma. Personal stories about abortion are very hard to find, not only in Slovakia, where I am from, but also worldwide, as I found out. And isn't it strange that we know so little about something that millions of people share? Well, I know myself how hard it is to talk about this experience in a society full of judgment. And our film, Inside, tells personal stories of several Slovak women who have experienced abortion. And these stories are full of wide range of emotion, such as happiness, anger, relief, or even sadness. And these stories are tied into a poem that is a backbone of our film. But this poem is present throughout the film only in written form as titles. And therefore, the women never actually speak out loud in the film. On the other hand, the sound represents the outside world and the often very harsh statements made in public debate. Visually, one very simple object is important to us, and it's flowers. Flower is the reproductive organ of a plant, and women are still, until this day, reduced to just their reproductive role. And from macro shots of flowers, we are trying to create a dreamlike, enclosed world where women are able to express their thoughts, their opinions, their experiences. And we also include found footage material that is depicting, once again, flowers, but these flowers are appearing at key moments of a quote-to-quote perfect woman's life, such as her birth, her graduation, her wedding, or her motherhood. But in these clips, women are portrayed as very passive, much like the flower bouquets they are handed. But of course, the film goes beyond portraying women as inactive or as victims. And going back to the beginning of my pitch, we believe that with this creative documentary short, we can enlarge this safe space where people are able to talk openly about the experiences and the feelings abortion has left them with. And also for women to gain back the narrative and to own our own stories and not to be kind of pushed into some stereotypes. Thank you very much.
We all welcome on stage the producer of Inside, Roman Pivovarnik. And we start with the first question for you, Dorota. Inside is a departure from your previous documentaries in terms of cinematic language. It's a compelling poem, visual. It will be exclusively a combination of images, found, and shots. Written words, sound design, but what made you decide to adopt this very different approach from this particular project?
Yes, so as I mentioned, it's going to be quite experimental and abstract, but this decision came because I wanted these stories to be as universal as possible, but also for the women to be able to be anonymous. So that's why I chose this kind of form, even though my previous work is not really similar to this. But I want to mention that even though this is going to be an experimental documentary short, we want it to be quite approachable and also understandable by wider audience.
Thank you. And what was your research process in terms of like the women's testimonies about abortion?
Yeah, well, when I started researching, I found out, as I mentioned, that it's quite hard to kind of get to know these stories, and I thought it's only in Slovakia, but gradually I found out it's in many other countries as well. And I have collected over 40 stories, and some of them I have been told by other people. And then there are these two Slovak NGOs, those made the research, and they provided me with these stories, and I have all the, I am allowed to use it by the women themselves. But also quite interesting thing happened to me that since I started making this film and talking about it, I have been approached by quite a large amount of people who shared their stories with me, which is exactly what I want to do with this film, for people to be able to share what they have experienced, because I believe sharing is connected to healing as well. So that's why.
And the question for Roman, if you can also tell us more about the current stage of development of this very specific project and approach, and maybe the next steps, what are you looking for in terms of partners?
Yes, hello everyone. First of all, I'm very happy that I can work with Dorota again after our previous short TV documentary After Us, The Flood. And yeah, right now we are in a late development stage. We already received the production support from the Slovak Audiovisual Fund, but we are still not fully financed yet. So it means we are primarily looking for co-producers here. That's why we are here, but also sales agents, distributors, festivals, and so on. If everything goes well, the film will be finished in March 2026. And we are fortunate to have also the teaser ready of the film, so we'll be happy to show it to you during one-on-one meetings. That's it. Thank you very much.
So now, going to Ukraine, calling on stage the director, Vyacheslav Churanitsia, will manage at some point the director of the project In the Name of Ukraine.
Hi everybody. My name is Vyacheslav. I'm a filmmaker from Ukraine. I'm based in Kyiv. My previous short film, Thoughts on Peace in an Air Raid, premiered this winter at IFFR. And right now I'm very happy to present my new live-action short film with the working title In the Name of Ukraine. This story is based on real events that gained publicity in Ukraine more than a year ago, where an undercover police officer was sent to a private sex party, and his mission was to film himself having sex with another undercover woman at the party. And after that, this video evidence was used against the party organizers, and real party organizers in Ukraine were sentenced to 3 years in prison. Behind my back you see my protagonist. This is a still from our teaser that we shot. This is our protagonist Yevhen. He is very intensively preparing for the party. He is using a small hidden camera into the third button of his shirt. After that, he is imitating sex with the pillow, trying to understand how the angle works at the camera, and etc. After that, he is going to the party itself, and being just an ordinary man with a post-Soviet mentality, he has to realize what to do, because on the one hand, he wants just to get a promotion on his work, because being very post-Soviet, yes. But on the other hand, he somehow begins to go more and more into with the people at the party, with the community. He begins to love it, what is going on, this freedom, blah, blah, blah. And he has to record a video with another undercover woman. And the very last exact moment when it is going to happen, this woman rejects to do so. And Yevhen at this moment has to decide what to do. Does he have to seek his moral compass, or just he has to do everything he needs to do according to his job? Suddenly he notices a highly realistic torso of a rubber woman, and at this moment we understand that he found like the most bizarre way out of the situation. For me, this project is very important because it speaks a lot about corrupted political system in Ukraine, about absurd laws that our system uses almost every day. So for me, as a responsible citizen, it is very important to speak out loud about problems that exist in my country. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much. Please join us on stage, the producer, Inna Lastochkina. So, against the backdrop of the war in your country, you take a critical look at Ukraine's authorities. To what extent would you like the international audiences to grasp this dimension, and what narrative elements will help them to do it?
I think that the humor will be the most important part in order to connect with this problem that is very similar, I think, to Ukraine, but probably cannot be very understandable abroad. I think through the humor it will be our main tool to approach this. I'm very linked with the Romanian cinema, especially with Corneliu Porumboiu, and I think this sense of very serious, dark film that is going on screen, and the humor that is very suited inside the film will help somehow, I think, to help the audience, they understand that. And in fact, I think this story is based on real events. And in fact, that this guy went to the sex party, recording himself having sex. I think it's already bizarre and very strange that it can happen only in Ukraine. And that's why I think that this humoristic part inside the film will help to link the international audience with this critical dimension that I want to translate, to mediate somehow.
Yeah, also, could you tell us more about the relation with your main character? How his personal point of view shapes, or maybe not, the film's narrative and the tone?
Yes, speaking about the tone, I think that the idea of this hidden camera that is used in the film will dictate us a bit the tone of the film. I mean, this will not be a mockumentary at all. This will be like a normal film using DSLR cameras, but we will use these angles of the hidden camera. I mean, the manner and tone will be very detached, will be very cold. And I always joke with my DOP when we were discussing the visual style of the film, like pretend that your wife is cheating to you and you have to hide somewhere camera in the room in order to understand what is going on. So I think this will help us to find some angles to understand how the setting has to be done, and this will dictate us a lot about the tone of the film.
So Inna, what is the space for co-producers, and what countries do you have in mind in particular, if any, and what's the status?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, hi, I'm Inna Lastochkina, Ukrainian producer, and it's our third collaboration with Vyacheslav. We made already 2 shorts with no money at all, only with our only with our efforts during the war. And we are in early stage of development of the script now. As now, still during the war in Ukraine, there is no fund at all, so we are really rely on the international co-production. First of all, our aim, we already have a French co-producer, so we want to apply in France, but there is still very strong space for post-production partners, and it can be, for example, Belgium, we think, or I just want also to explore, for example, Romania, because I think it can be also very interesting exchanging experience between us, as the film is very, very related to Romanian language of cinema somehow, and I think it can be very interesting. And yeah, or any other countries who can also join our project in any kind opportunity, in kind or post-production opportunities.
Great, thank you so much. And now it's time to introduce our first work in progress of the day. So from Armenia, director of Sana Gevorgian with Paid Mourners.
It's always funny to see my grandfather. It's actually my actual grandfather. So, hello, my name is Ovsana. I'm an Armenian filmmaker based in Yerevan, and I'm here to present my work in progress film called Paid Mourners. It tells the story of a rising TikTok star, a 16-year-old TikTok star, who doesn't want to continue her family's very unglamorous tradition of professional mourning. And everything changes when her eccentric grandmother, who is a very well-known mourner in their parts, declares that she has decided to die in a week. And with Margot's mother absent from the picture, the responsibility of inheriting family trait falls squarely on her shoulders, because the tradition is passed through the females of the family. And her grandmother is determined to pass on the mantle to Margot, but there's a bit of a hiccup. Quite literally, because every time Margot tries to mourn, she gets a very bad case of hiccups. And her grandmother has only 1 week to get rid of this obstacle and to teach her how to mourn properly. I was inspired to make this film when I noticed how social media infiltrates even the farthest corners of the world and dictates this sort of uniform culture, especially to teenagers who all sort of dress the same, listen to the same music. They're forced into this one display of happiness. It seems like in this very glamorous world, pain and suffering have no place. While our protagonist, Bavo, this salt of the earth woman, she knows the importance of feeling sadness. And she's trying to teach her granddaughter that mourning is not about weakness. It's about feeling love so much greater than yourself that you are willing to share someone else's pain. And that was the main thing that really pushed me to write this story. So we have an excerpt from the film that where our grandmother character is imparting some of the wisdom to her granddaughter.
Դադիրեսի որ ռիթմն էլ է կարևոր։ Ուշադրություն դարձո ռիթմին։ Մեկ մարդուն պետք է գցես գծի վրա, որ կարիրա ինքն իր լացի արմադից բռնի քաշա դուրս։
Կամ այդքան ճողցնելու տեղը կռնաս ուղակի երտաս հոգեբանը։
Մարդիկ չեն հասկնա, որ ցավի հետ ընկերանալու մեջ այնքան ուրախություն կա, այնքան որ ուրախության հետ։ Թե չէ վաղցուկ սաղիրանցից հեռու կբրդին ցավը։ Հետո որ մեթափից վրեկներն կջարդի կմնան ալիքի տակ կխեղդին։ Որտև վաղտին լողալ չսորված։ Մեկ այդի դրսի աշխարհը կուզա քեզի ժողվա էլա իր փուչ կյանքի մեմաս։ Բայց ուրան քո հետ չներնի, երբ մեծ ալիքը կարգսի ծածկա։ Ես էլ քո հետ չմեղնի։ Թող այդ ալիքը գա քզի ծածկա։
Իսկ ինչ գինաս ալիքը կուգա։ Աղա ես եմ ու իմ վրա ոչ մի ալիք էլա չի գա։
Որ մեր այդ երկրորդ մարդուն առավ, քեզի տարամոդը պսկով։ Մեր շապատ հազիվ մացին կսիր արիտադի հետեշտանք։ Ստեղ բալկոնից որ կնայեմ, կտենամ ու դեղա հողը կպրծնի։ Բա որ քելամ հողից էրից ընգնիմ մղրբի մեջ, Მე մատերիխա իր հազիվեր կարշոտից կդրել։ Որ կրնաս հողի պրծնելը տենաս։ Որ բարձր տեղ կայնից տենաս իմալա երգիրը կգլորի։ Ուրեմն ապրելու ցավն քեզի կվառի, հա կվառի։ Բայց լացի սոր թոքելից դեդ վառողոթը դուրս կա։ Էս էլի ես ու պաբոտ։
That your film is produced by Varden Arkobian, who couldn't join us for the pitch. Yes, you can be both. So we can start with the first question for you, Avdana. Yeah, paid mourners deals with grief, mourning, in the framework of a generational clash. But there are also some humoristic elements. We could in that in your presentation and in the excerpt, but maybe you can tell us more about, in general, the tone that you want to use throughout the film, that you are using, actually.
So for me, to talk about this tradition without humor would be impossible because the funniest stories in my family come from funerals. I will give you one example and you will picture everything. So when my uncle passed away. At his funeral, my auntie couldn't join us, so she called through Facebook video chat. I used it in the film. She called through video chat, and my uncle's daughter, he went with her phone one by one and showed who was crying and how much they were crying, just to how much they appreciated her father. And that's just one of many examples. Or in my father's village, there was a special guy who was a bit kooky, but he had a habit of sitting next to the priest when he was like giving sermon for the person who passed, just to check if he was saying everything correctly. And whenever he was missing a line, he would stand up like, he's missing a line. So just two examples, but you see how it was just impossible to tell the story in any other genre than comedy.
And so obviously you are in advanced post-production. So what are the needs for the film? Who do you hope to meet here?
So we're almost picture locked, and our main goal is to find post-production and also to connect with potential distributors and sales agents to give the film a good life after it's finished. And we're also hoping to connect with festival representatives.
Thank you very much, Ovsana. And just like that, the first block is already over. It's already time for our first 10-minute break. Here you had first the QR code to connect to the online platform, the ESP online platform, so professionals can request one-to-one meetings with the projects. And so see you in 10 minutes. We start again. Please take your seats. Is everyone back? Hello, everyone. People in the back, please take your seats. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we start again, and the first project of our second block is again a work in progress, and I welcome on stage the director Elia Kalogjani for the project Mammalia. Coming from Greece.
Hi everyone, welcome back. So most of the times I prefer to be behind the camera, but I'll do my best. I'm here to dive you in the world of Mammalia. So Mammalia is a 15-minute visual drama that explores the power dynamics between two women confined to a house with a lot of domesticated animals. So like dogs, cats, parrots, etc. So through the film, we see slices of their everyday life, and we observe their dominated character towards the animals, but also towards each other. So the story ends up quite dramatically because we have a cannibalistic state because they end up attacking each other. So what made me make this film? So my deep curiosity about biology, but also on instincts and bodies in general, humans and non-humans, made me want to write this script and explore it through magical realism. So the film touches topics upon spacism and anthropocentrism, and in general the human thirst for power and control. And so what are we? Are we humans? Are we animals? Or are we savages? This quote by William Golding really sums up the nature of the film, which we're going to see now, like a small extract.
Τέλεια. Αλλιώς, έτσι. Το χέρι. Μπροστά κοίτα. Πιο κάτω. Εδώ. Ωραία. Ωραία. Μέσα η γλώσσα. Ωραία. Μπράβο σου. Πάμε πιο γρήγορα. Μπροστά. Μπράβο σου. Πάμε. Στο πιάνο.
So please welcome on stage the producer, Alexandros Stylopoulos. So Elia, your visual arts background clearly influences the aesthetic of Mammalia, but what prompted you to explore the themes that you tackle in the film that you mentioned in your presentation through a more scripted narrative rather than through a more experimental or hybrid format?
Thank you. In general, I don't like to limit myself in a certain form. So in a way, this narrative is challenging and maybe not so classical. It clearly has a development. And I felt for this one that it really needed time to be in inside this constructive world that I am proposing, let's say. And personally, I would like to see more of this kind of narratives in cinema, and I really like to, through all my projects, to create my personal language, and through the tools of art and cinema together, create something that makes sense and really follow my instinct. So, yeah.
And we have a question for you, Alex. Yeah, Mammalia is an ambitious project with some complexities already at the stage of the production, but now you are in the phase of post-production. And so what kind of partners are you looking for to support these final stages, perhaps both creatively, strategically?
Hello, everyone. Yes, it's a very ambitious project, and it was also quite challenging for me as a producer. Before respond to any production request, both Elia and I work together to create a secure space for both humans and animals. So that's why a permanent amount went into animal handlers, animal needs, and animal props. We are almost picture locked, and we are seeking a potential co-producer for access funding for post-production, like VFX, sound design, graphics, and etc. Also sales and distributors. And because we are going to finalize the film by the end of this year, we are aimed to meet programmers and festival representatives as we're looking for a premiere on the first half of the next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Now joining us on stage, Sara Jurincic from Croatia with the project Closing Time.
So, hi, I'm Sara, director from Croatia, based in Copenhagen, and I'm here with my second short. My previous one, called Valeria, was nominated for the European Film Awards last year and was shown on over 50 film festivals. So, I'm here with Closing Time. It's a 20-minute hybrid documentary set in a poetic night mood of street shops throughout Europe. What we see is workers stuck in an endless closing shift. In the dim flicker of night lights, we step into the immigrant workers' world. So the film is set completely in the last moments of the workday. It's a vulnerable time and space in between belonging, with workers trapped in the neon night frames. It's, for me, the most honest moment of the day, with all the hours of hard physical work visible, as they perform the final closing operations. After moving from Croatia to Scandinavia, I found myself stuck between two worlds, and myself working in many of these shops and knowing how extremely privileged I am compared to so many. So, in Croatia, state of things is that we see brutal violence against the Nepali and Thai workers in a daily and weekly, it pops out in newspapers, it's everywhere. And in the north, intolerance wears a different dangerous mask. It is hidden in the far-right laws. So that's why I want to talk about all these layers, using shops closing time as a metaphor, a fragile moment in between belonging, but also in between public and private, where workers stand so exposed, yet completely unseen. So the idea is that the dreamy, stunning night visuals of the street shops draw us in, and then the raw reality of workers' personal stories wakes us up. The film is playing on audience's perspective. It messes with our minds, and as reality distorts, we start to wonder, on which side of the street window are we standing? Because gradually, first we are observers. We are drawn in and taking the worker's personal point of view. I find this method crucial today in these extreme times of extreme wars, intolerance towards anyone foreign being at its peak, and the far right rising everywhere. So I feel that by consciously eliminating the distance between immigrant workers in several European cities, this film can generate their intimate encounter under the flickering nightlights. So our main focus here is to find co-producers, and we're of course always looking for festivals. So feel free to reach out. Thank you.
So shout out to the producer Vanja Jambrovic, who is not here with us today, but well, Sarah is here. That's the most important thing. So similarly to your previous short, Valeria, you continue in the path of hybrid documentary, combining reality and cinematic distortions. But maybe can you share more details about how the narration will be shaped?
So we start from this very specific space and time that we all see daily, but we're completely blind to it, or most people are completely blind to it, because it's the moment in between the locking and the working hours being done, and then the closing time where the workers actually lock the shops and leave. And the whole idea of the film is to create a very specific mood. So not only by these night visuals that are going to be full of neon and the flickering lights, but also like the main narration backbone of the film will be a radio station that will be omnipresent and very subtly incorporated. So like a very natural building up of the mood. And then it will very easily switch from one city to the other, because we will be obviously understanding that the language switch as we are entering a different city. And then through this, it will kind of, in a way, put us in this mood of taking it for granted. And then we will start to feel glitches in this reality, and we will start to understand that nothing is normal and what we see is not what we expect.
We also had a question about your work, your collaboration with the workers. How do you envision that? What is your approach with them?
So I want to build this relationship in a very gentle way, because yeah, most of them, of course, in the cities that I live in and that I lived in Zagreb, they're my friends, and it's friends of their friends, and it's in a way for me very intuitive relationship. And I talk to people, I slowly form friendships in this way, and I feel that this approach is the only one that is right for this film. Yeah. So that's gonna be the idea behind it.
And so what's the current stage? I ask you the producer's question. And yeah, who are you looking for? What kind of partners?
Yeah, so right now, the film is in the stage of we received the 35 to 40% of the budget from the Croatian Film Fund. And that is around 43,000 euros. And we're looking for co-producers mainly. I think like we're slowly going to start with test shootings end of the year. And then I feel that like this project is unfortunately ideal for co-production because the state of the world is really fucked right now. And I feel that unfortunately it's anywhere in Europe and further we can easily find similar situations. So yeah, that's the state of the film right now.
So you're very open. Everybody's welcome, like as potential co-producers. That's, yeah, great. Thank you very much, Sara. So, next project in development is Agitation from Iceland. Welcome the director, Gunnur Martinsdottir Schluter.
Thank you very much. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Gunnur, and I'm an Icelandic-German filmmaker. My last short, Fár, had its premiere at Festival de Cannes in 2023, where it received a special mention. And my upcoming project is called Agitations. The story tells about the 9-year-old girl Helga. Helga's biggest wish is that her family of 4 would reunite. But her parents are going through a divorce. She sees a chance, though, when her father, who left the little village they lived in to begin her gender transition, comes back for the village for an afternoon to get her belongings. But realizing is harder than hoping, since Helga's mother has turned into so-called gender-critical feminist and rejects the transition. And Helga's big brother, older brother, lays somewhere out in the lava field, numb out of weed smoking. So within the time frame of one afternoon, we see Helga running between the fractures, trying to convince everyone in naive, childish, angry way to reunite, while the earth begins to tremble because of an upcoming volcano eruption. So I have the feeling, or I'm just gonna, yes, I have a feeling, I'm gonna use that word, that the world today has been changing into times that seems to want to separate and polarize more than at least a decade before. Reading through news and social media, I navigate through stronger opinions and ideologies and a search for identity and space, which is at the same time being oppressed. I try to listen and understand and positioning myself, but do at the same time want to tell this story of a girl who wishes for a reunition. Most of all, I'm interested in the complexity and the vulnerable human aspect of the characters, and which often come sometimes out in a tragicomic way, and do want to tell the story in a compact, visually strong and playful way. The story of Helga and her wish to reunite fractures in a broken family/world. Thank you very much.
So, we also welcome on stage the producer of Agitation, Runar Ingi. And we start with the first question for you, Gunnur. Agitations present characters who feel both intimate but also symbolic. What drew you to this approach, and what kind of reflection on contemporary life do you explore through them?
Yes, so I think one of the intention of writing this script and telling this story is that my mother, it's always the mama, no, but she used to say when I was younger, in my early 20s, with a good intention, that my generation, I'm a millennial, that my generation is so unpolitical, or like, yes, or at least compared to her generation. She was always protesting and so on. So the world today evokes my interest a lot, because I have the feeling that my generation never had to really take a point of standing. Although I'm very interested in human rights, and I do see trans rights as human rights. But I want to explore through the characters the complexity of this theme, like the mother being so stuck in her opinions, but at the same time having all this sorrow inside of her, and the father who had to take this decision and leave the little village to become what she is, but at the same time maybe avoiding confrontation and responsibility. So I'm kind of exploring the world today through this and these adult themes, where in the adult world sometimes the heart and the most important thing of just being together is put it by side. Yes.
And at the same time, the tone of agitation seems very rooted, deeply rooted in the Icelandic landscape. So how do you want to play between the film's cinematic language and the natural environment?
Yes, so the wish location would be Vestmann Island, which would somehow frame the world very clearly. The Vestmann Island lay over a active volcano system. And in the last year in Iceland, in the last 4 years, there have been 10 eruptions in Iceland, volcano eruption, like we see here on this photo I took 4 years ago. And it is somehow what I might be trying to say, but at the same time, everyone can interpret it in their own way. Is it needs a natural disaster to let people stop thinking and just come together. But this eruption can be interpreted in many ways. It can also be kind of, I don't know how you feel, guys, but my father is very afraid of the Third World War these days. And also in the last week, 10 days ago, a little village in Switzerland was just covered by a glacier flood, or like so it's just, so there is like the nature is somehow very active also, and this can be just seen in many ways, but it needs this disaster to bring people together. That's, yeah. Thank you.
And the question for you, Runar. So this is also a very rooted, as we said, on an island project and story, but as you move forward also, what kind of international partners would you like to bring on board? And also maybe you can say a bit about the timeline you envision for the next steps?
Yeah, I mean, for this project and ongoing, I mean, we're looking for long-term collaborators to follow us on this journey, hopefully for more projects to come. So we're looking for co-producers, not that necessarily looking at specific countries, more looking at, people that would be great to work with, good people with good cause, and, like everyone here, I'm assuming. And our timeline is long. I mean, we're going to film next summer. But that being said, we're doing the research and scouting in the fall. So if we end up partnering with somebody, you might be coming to Iceland and in the fall, and let's see. But that's our timeline, and to finish it end of year next year. So yeah, we're taking our time as we did before too.
There are a lot of people in this room.
I can see it. Good eyes, good people. So.
Joining us online.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So next, I welcome on stage the director Alicia Mendy from Switzerland and Senegal with her project Memories of the Beyond.
So Memories of the Beyond is a short fantasy that takes place in Senegal in the 80s. So my name is Alicia Mendy. I'm a director and a music composer. My graduation film, but set a sci-fi dystopia, won Best School Film in Kurzfilmtage and Best Director in Curta Cinema in Rio de Janeiro, and 3 other prizes. And this new short, Memories of the Beyond, was also selected at the Focus Script in Cannes last year. So, since the brutal death of his mother, Elizo is approached by demons, otherworldly spirits feared and respected as bridges between life and death. When Elizo discovers that by touching the skull of a demon, he's transported to the afterlife where he can be reunited with his mother, he can't resist the temptation to go over again and again, isolating himself in his grief. However, as he clings on to the last memories of his mother, he realizes that these journeys are slowly destroying his life and memories, and that his real fight will be to not lose himself. Many of my family stories, drowned in the displacements of war and exile, were closed by silence. And as you may have guessed, my family is from Casamance. So in the 80s, when Casamance refused to be submitted to the neo-colonial French power, it asked for its independence, and which was refused, and it started a war. And my brother had to flee away, asking for a political refugee status to avoid getting killed. And my big brother lost his mom, who was shot like many other civilians at that time. So Memories of the Beyond is a mix between the story of my father and brother, both of whom never had the chance to say goodbye to their mother. And it's a way for me to give it the form of closure in a metaphysical way. And from a more personal perspective, war and exile left scars in my father's heart, and with age, that unhealed pain started crawling back to his brain, making him less lucid day by day. And so it's also for me a way to prepare myself to say goodbye to him for the day where his mind won't come back from the clouds it usually get lost into. And for the aesthetical point of view, I want to create visual paintings. I really want the shorts to look like a tale, and I want a surrealistic aesthetic. And for the demons, the mystical creature, they're going to be inspired by traditional mythological creatures from Casamance, but with a touch of modern art, and it's going to kind of look like that a bit.
Thank you very much. And welcome on stage producer Rhea Plank. So, the film tackles the theme of grief using fantasy elements. Maybe you can tell us more about how you approach this combination of like grief and fantasy, and what it allows in terms of narrative process for you, and how you approach genre in general.
Since for me, genre is really special because it's for me the most accurate way to represent reality as I perceive it, because you can express very strong emotion and feeling. There is sometimes no, it's not sometimes possible to describe with words. And fantasy, I chose those creatures in particular because it's mythological creatures we have in Casamance, and like for funeral, like in most African country, we party a lot, like we dance and there's a lot of music, and it's actually all those party events that happen sometimes with strange creatures, sometimes not. It's a way to grieve, but also like to celebrate different events in life, marriage, circumcision, any type of parties. And I recently discovered that actually like almost every culture in the world has like strange creatures like that are like kind of big strange monsters with like that are made of wood or of like animal skins. And it's really like a good example how like we're all like spiritually connected, and we need like actually fantasy in our life to like step over some important stage of life.
Was captivated. Yeah, could you describe the afterworld that Elizo discovers every time he wants to be with his mother? What is your creative take on this world? I mean, visually speaking, but also in terms of sound design and all the elements that you want to describe, actually.
So Casamance is the south of Senegal, and it's very like it's really the countryside. There's a lot of nature and trees. So the afterworld will be like a single straight road with a lot of trees on both sides, and it's gonna be a very silent world because it's fantasy, but I don't want any special effects or visual effects, so it's only gonna be created by the strangeness of the situation. So, for example, dead people are gonna be like you and me, normally walking with maybe vintage suitcase and vintage clothes, and they're just gonna be walking in the same direction without making any sound. It's gonna be a very silent world and stuff, but yeah, I really want to create the difference between the real life and the afterworld, only with strange situation and sensation, but nothing fantasy visually.
Great, thank you so much. Rea, so you started financing the film in Switzerland. So what are the next steps internationally and what are your goals here?
Yeah, so thanks for inviting us. Thanks for all of your effort. Thanks also Alicia. It's the second time we worked together after your diploma film budget, so that's great. Yeah, we are in financing. We are quite advanced now. We have like about 60%. We are waiting now the final funds, the national funds. We have some regions. So yes, we are still looking for some money, but more than that, we are really also, like you said before, we are looking for the right match and the right co-producers for this project, and also in a long term on a feature that follows. We have partners already in Senegal, so we need some money that is movable, so out of Europe, which is the biggest challenge on this project. And we are really working in a very egalitarian way. So this is also a condition for whoever comes on board, that we are in the same, thinking in the same way. So these are the principles. Besides that, we obviously are looking for festivals already, for distribution already. And we are really looking forward to meet whoever you are. Just come. I mean, things come from unexpected places, how you love to see.
Super, thank you. Thank you so much. So next up, another project in development from Portugal, but based in New York. Director Barbara Anastasio presents Mother Nature.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Barbara Anastasio. I'm a filmmaker from Portugal based in New York. And I'm here to present you Mother Nature, a 15-minute dark comedy about a woman confronting mother ambivalence in an age of algorithms and optimization. My mother was pregnant at 18, and that changed her life forever. Unlike her, I had a lot more choice, and as a result, I postponed that decision until my biological clock started ticking, and I kind of lived it as a sort of existential crisis. It felt like my ovaries were betraying my principles. So that turmoil really inspired me to create this story. I started the film, I opened the film with this satirical commercial for Mother Nature app. It's kind of Tinder for baby making that genetically promises women perfect genetically matched donors, sperm donors. And we see Mia, our main character here, watching this content in the middle of the night as she's like panic shopping for sperm donors, feeling she's running out of time. Cut 2 months later, she hits the road to meet her 3 top matches. We have longevity-obsessed biohacker type, Andrew Tate tech bro type, and then a sweet but neurotic man who finds like meaning through these donations. Each encounter is like more absurd than the last, and it kind of feels like a journey through modern masculinity's wasteland. But the real encounter and real reckoning happens when she's finally alone in her motel room, about to self-inseminate. This vulnerable moment, she's actually interrupted by a couple next door who starts having really loud sex. And initially really annoyed by this, she eventually becomes aroused and begins to masturbate. And in the chaos of the moment and the pleasure, she accidentally spills the sperm and her carefully made plans as well. through this liberation, she has to really confront what she truly desires. Mother Nature reimagines this woman adrift prototype in movies like Barbara Loden's Vanda or Chantal Akerman Meetings of Anna, but transported into our 21st century reality. The movie unfolds like a road trip through liminal spaces, parking lots, garages, shopping malls, where the characters remain awkwardly distant and emotionally awkward. And I think, yeah, my inspiration was really like the lack of stories about motherhood, ambivalence, because most stories tend to like glorify motherhood as a woman's purpose or childlessness as tragedy. So with this film, I really wanted to sit in the space in between with humor, honesty, and maybe discomfort. Because maybe in a world that is constantly trying to optimize everything, the most radical act is to embrace the mess of not really knowing what you want. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
We welcome on stage the producer of the film, Catarina de Souza. Welcome, Catarina. And we start with the first question for you, Barbara. Yeah, well, Mia is a complex character, and her journey couldn't have anything else than a complex ending, the cry-wank culmination. But could you tell us more about the political meaning of the film for you when it comes to the intense and eternal debate about motherhood?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I tried to explain, I think for me it was important that she really embraced that contradiction of a lot of millennial women, I think, like me, that are a bit, I don't know, torn between the promise of having it all, but then also, you know, they can maybe be absorbed by tradwife content or things like that as a form of escapism. And I think it was just important that she didn't really make a decision about, you know, going for it or not, so that she wouldn't be defined by that as her character. So, and then obviously the political context of right now, you know, with J.D. Vance saying that childless cat ladies are ruining the country and things like that, seemed like a really important political moment to do this.
I don't know, it might or not be connected to that, but like, so you mentioned that the film is a road movie through liminal spaces, but why is it important for you to set it and shoot it in the US?
I mean, I feel like the US and America is kind of the zeitgeist of not only these kind of tech apps and things that commodify human connection, but also obviously with you know, women's choices now at risk with the current political climate and Elon Musk talking about population collapse. So it just felt like right. And then also like the road trip element, I feel like it's ultimately something, you know, very American mythology, this kind of road trip movie. But like, because it is very nondescript places and because our world is so globalized right now, it could technically happen in other places too, like it could be shot, so it's very open. And I think that actually could be interesting things to explore too. So.
That's to a question for Catarina. No, but what kind of setup you envision in terms of co-production? Are you open to co-producers in Europe, actually? What any other partners are you looking for?
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for being here. This is our second collaboration, and we are friends for a long term. And I'm very happy to produce Mother Nature. And Mother Nature right now is in early stage of financing. So we are totally open for European co-producers. Right now, the co-production structure is between Portugal and USA. That is not a very common bridge, not so explored in the short format, neither in features. So for me as a producer, this is really like motivation, and it excites me to put these so different film cultures in contact. And I think it will strengthen the strategy for production and distribution of the film. But right now, we will apply for funds in Portugal, and we are studying the possibility of CNC for short film funds. So we aim to meet new possibilities with French partners and sales agents and distributors, because I think for this project and its nature, it will be important to have on board since the early stage, like sales agents and distributors with us, that I know it's not common in short formats, but I think it will be very interesting to write together this distribution strategy, because the audience of this film is universal. So I think it's our aim.
Yeah, in terms of timeline, did you mention?
Timeline, it will be, we aim to have the funds in 2026 and the film in 2027. We are defining the strategy. Yes.
Meaningful collaborations.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So now we are moving to another work in progress. He's already coming. Welcome to the director of Shallow Ground from Croatia, Jozo Šmur.
Thank you. So, before I was born, my mother decided that she will name me Hrvoje after her cousin who disappeared during the fall of Vukovar. And it caused a really big stir in my family, because my grandfather said that it's a really bad luck to name a child after somebody who's dead. But my mother claimed that Hrvoje isn't dead, that he's actually missing, and that we cannot be sure if he's dead or not. As you can see, in the end, I am not named Hrvoje. My name is Jozo Šmur, and I am director of the film Shallow Ground. Shallow Ground is a 20-minute short film set in Vukovar, 30 years after the Croatian Independence War. It's a war that saw more than 20,000 people dead or missing, 2,000 of which are still to be found. It follows Maria, an elderly mother whose son Luka disappeared during the fall of Vukovar, and he one day returns to her. He's unchanged, as if still 20. During the course of a single day, mother and son navigate the pain of the past, unspoken words, and the weight of the years stolen by the war. Their reunion is both impossible and creative. In a sense, Maria needs to confront the longing and the desires that have shaped her entire existence. This story is a deeply personal one, because my uncle disappeared, Hrvoje disappeared during the fall of Vukovar. And this absence haunted my family since then, because in my family, grief didn't have any closure because we didn't have a body, so we only had memories and imagination. Unfortunately, this is not a story that's unique to me and my family, but families all over the world are still struggling with the consequences of unresolved war trauma, which, because wounds of the conflict remain long after the ceasefires and peace negotiations, which is something that all of us can relate to, despite of who we are or where we come from. Thank you for your attention, and now we will see a clip where Maria and Luka, spending a regular day together, meet somebody from their shared past. Thank you.
A koji si ti ono broj bio prije? A? 42. Ja mislim. Čekaj, to je sad možda ovaj M. Ne znam.
Nisam se nešto udebljao.
Evo, vidi ovo kak je lepo. Hajde, probaj to.
Da još nađeš plave hlačice i crvenu maramu i ponovo postajem ti do pionir.
Joj, kad te onda nisam ubila. Pa ja sam cijeli dan peglala tu košuljicu, a ti izašao i zaprljao se u prvoj lokvi.
Znaš da me dupe bolilo još nedelju dana nakon toga.
Pa da šta?
Nisam mogao sedjeti na stolici normalno.
Evo, sramotio si me pred celom školom. Sin mi postaje pionir. Eno ga blatnjao ko svinja.
Ajde, znala si biti gora.
Ja, uvek s razlogom.
A jel?
Da, šta? Ne.
Biće ove dobre?
Biće ti male.
Nisu.
A daj veruj mi bar jedan put. Ajde, nemoj, poslije ćeš mi reći da te stišće tu i da...
Otkud vas ovdje? Nisam vas vidjela
od tajnog 5. razreda.
Dobar dan, profesorice.
Ja, što si ti narasla. Jesi krenula na fakultet?
A taman upisala. Seli mi se ovih dana pa smo došli još vidjeti neke stvari koje trebamo.
Jel? A šta si upisala?
Pravo.
Bravo.
A kako je vama u mirovini, teta Marija?
Dobre su ove. Ne moraš tražiti.
Ovo je moj nećak iz Njemačke. Jakov se zove.
Bože, na trenutak da sam duha vidjela. Sanja, drago mi je.
Jakov.
Šta si malo došao teti u posjet, a?
Da.
Neka lijepo. Ovo je Teja. I, jel ti dosadno u Vukovaru?
Ma dobro je.
Ima neka zabava večeras na mitnici. Jel da Teja ide pa mogu bi Jakov s tobom, a?
Da, mislim, ako hoćeš, tamo kraj Kvovadi sam, ako znaš gdje.
Pa objasnit ću mu ja.
A ništa, mi moramo dalje. Baš mi je drago da sam vas vidjela, teta Marija, i da sam tebe upoznala, Jakove. Ajmo te ići. Ženja.
Da je ova onomad rekla skoči s mosta, tip sam pitao s kojeg.
Please welcome on stage producer Anna Martinovic. So, you've described Shallow Ground as an impossible reunion that takes place over the course of one single day. Maybe can you elaborate more on the film's narrative structure? Like, how is this reunion framed and what kind of emotional register you used?
So yeah, I think this film is in a domain of magical realism, where something impossible happened, but we didn't take any time to explain why or how this is happening. Rather, we focused on everyday moments with that mother and son have after all this year. So they're basically spending just a regular day together, going shopping, visiting a graveyard, walking around, having a dinner. But underneath there's a thing boiling where there are a lot of unspoken words, because Maria is sort of blaming herself for allowing her son to even go to the conflict and blaming herself for his eventual demise. And also she has an obsession, like all of us that have a missing family members, of finding his grave. So she's pushing him to tell him about the way he died, and he eventually does so she can have a sense of closure. But for me, I think the trauma of war is not in bullets and punching your chest and screaming in the air, but it's rather in these mundane moments, everyday moments where you feel the absence of a person. So I wanted to give this woman just one more regular day with her son. Yeah.
A question for you, Anna. The film is now picture locked, so congratulations. And what kind of journey do you envision for Shallow Ground at this point? What types of partners, platforms you are hoping to bring on board?
Thank you. We finalized the edit in the duration of the program. And we are in picture lock. Currently, we are in a stage of post-production of the sound. We will shortly start with color grading, and we hope that we finalize the film in the beginning of July. Yoza really did manage to get this emotional tension in the film, and I really believe that you can feel the empathy for the characters, no matter how familiar with the historical context of the story. I believe that the film can really resonate in the international aspect, and we are looking for international way and path for this film. We would like to find and talk to and discuss with sales agents and distributors about the festival strategies. And also we are looking forward to meeting the festival representatives here to talk more deeply about the film and maybe discuss what makes this film unique from the rest of the films that are dealing with this topic and that come from the same region.
Thank you. Thank you to you guys. And thank you to all the participants of this block. Congratulations. We now take a 10-minute break again. So see you. And we have also the QR code of the platform, please.
Hello, hello. Are people back in the room? Are we back in the room? Please take your seats again. Still some people in the back grabbing the last coffee. So, let's slowly start again. We give you another few seconds to take your seats. A more relaxed last break before the last block. So, let's start again with another project in development. Please welcome on stage director Masha Ovchinikova from France with the project Capital Punishment.
Thank you. Capital Punishment is a 20-minute fiction film inspired by true events. It's a story about guilt, love, and violence in motherhood. My heroine is Diane. She's a French journalist and a mother struggling to raise her son with neurological disorder that leads to violent outbursts. She travels a lot for her work, but also to escape her grueling daily life. And on New Year's Eve, despite her husband's anger and her sense of failure as a mother, she travels in Belarus to write an article on human rights. Near Minsk, she meets Marina, whose brothers have been sentenced to death in Belarus. But this simple interview becomes an intimate exchange between two women, leading Diane to the very depths of her own guilt. So the encounter between Diane and Marina is that of two women, two mothers consumed by guilt. And this is the heart of my project. How can I film this guilt I've already felt in my own intimacy as a mother? My son has ADHD, and I suffered from his impulsiveness as a child, and also from my own powerlessness. These memories influence the visual and sound style of the project, with film-textured image called colors or close-ups of faces. The camera will stay very close to Diane because I want to show the intimacy of her struggle, embodied in this sensitive wandering through a Belarusian village on a freezing New Year's Eve. This project has also a strong political dimension. My name is Masha Ovchinikova. I'm a French filmmaker with Russian, Jewish, Belarusian, and Ukrainian roots. I have directed several short fiction and documentary films around the political issues, shot in France, Russia, and Ukraine, and selected at several festivals like Krakow or Torino. And this project is a continuation of my work as a committed author. Belarus is the country of my father, and it is the only European country that still practices capital punishment. So the documentary dimension is also important. Some of dialogue between Diane and Marina is based on actual words of Anna Kosteva, the sister of two young men sentenced to death in Belarus in 2020. So this context of political violence is very important, and it exacerbates Diane and Marina's feelings and permits this powerful and intimate bond between two women. Thank you.
Thank you, Masha. And I call on stage to join you the producer of the film, Quentin Just. Welcome, Quentin. And we go with the first question for you, Masha. Capital punishment follows the violence imposed on Diane through her family situation, and on Marina by a dramatic political context. Could you describe the bond that develops between the two women and what it triggers on Diane at the end of the story?
Yes, so the relationship between Diane and Marina starts as an interview. And very soon it becomes an intimate bond between two women in pain. And the context of interview induces some kind of confrontation, some mistrust. But very quickly it becomes, the two women become mirrors of each other. So thanks to this encounter, Diane discovers her own guilt. She becomes aware of the suffering she's running away from. And she also understands that she's able to confront this suffering. And in the end, she decides to leave her journalistic quest and return to her family without abandoning Marina.
Thank you. And so how would you like to insert elements of the political context in Belarus in the film, and what role will they play in the story?
So this project has several layers, and the political context is a narrative background that shapes lives of Belarusian people and Marina's life in particular. And so Diane is French, and she discovers the political violence through Marina's story, through her daily life. And this political context also shapes the way we are making this film. It's impossible for us to shoot in Belarus, and so we're looking for other locations. But it's very important for us to capture this heavy and electric atmosphere of that special night experienced by Diane.
Thank you. And a question for you, Kanta. This is a project with as Masha said, a complex international setup, including the cast as well, and in a territory that is supposed to resemble Belarus. Who are the partners actually that are of particular interest for you?
Yes, it's my first collaboration with Masha, so I'm very happy to produce this film. The film will take place in two countries. The first part of the film is in France, and the second part, the larger part, will be in a country who can look like Belarusian village. For us, it's very important to also to think about the aesthetic way of this village, to find one place that can look like Belarus. And it's also important to find a partner who can, in an artistic way, completely get involved in the project, and with who we can discuss also in terms of in an artistic way. Now we are in the early stage of financing. We really want to involve a partner now to move forward together. We are thinking about Lithuania, Bulgaria, or Romania, but of course we are really open for other possibilities, and yes, let's discuss about it. Thank you.
Thank you. So now welcome on stage the director Tamara Todorovic from Serbia with their project Nobody Said Anything.
Hi, my name is Tamara, and I am a writer and the director of the short fiction film Nobody Said Anything. And through this film, I want to tell a story about female anger. Set on a cold winter night in the residential blocks in Belgrade, a film follows Katarina, a mother whose 11-year-old daughter brutally killed a cat with her friends. A mother of the girl whose cat was killed organizes a meeting to address what happened, determine responsibilities, and decide on the next steps. The tension between Katarina and one of the other mothers escalates into a physical fight between the women in front of the girls. Frightened by the rage she felt, Katarina returns home, struggling to face the consequences and take on the responsibilities. So even though all of my previous work was based on my personal experience as a woman in Serbia, this one is different. I'm not a mother, nor am I 11-year-old daughter, but I grew up in an environment shaped by various forms of violence. I was a young girl taught to suppress negative emotions like most girls, and I know the women I write about. Violence and aggression are traits reserved for boyhood. Society doesn't expect women to be violent. This film is not about justifying anger. This is a film that is about a woman who makes mistakes, who lashes out and loses control. Not because of her mental issues or social backgrounds like people tend to say when a woman loses control, but simply because she made a mistake. And above all else, this is a story about mothers and the pressure that is put on them to prove themselves as suitable for a role of a mother. Our plan is to start filming in early December of this year, and right now we are in the process of casting, since that is maybe the most important part of preparing for this type of film. Thank you so much.
So please welcome on stage producer Charna Vucinic. So the film opens with a violent event and ends with a fight. And this frames the story with physical conflict. Can you elaborate more on how the story plays with violence along its different parts as a narrative device?
Thank you for the question. Well, at first I wanted to talk about violence without showing it until the end, where it escalates into a physical fight. But what I think is the most important is that, and we also worked on that on this workshop, is that if there were men involved, this film wouldn't be that violent. Because when women fight, people tend to think that it's something more brutal than it is when it comes to men. So that is maybe my point. That is why I want to show the brutality of physical fight between the women at the end of the story. But until the end, I don't want to show any violence at all. That is just something that it is talked about in the movie.
You mentioned as well, Tamara, the crucial casting phase that you already started. It will really shape the tone and the depth of the film. Can you tell us more in details, like what kind of performances you are aiming for with your actresses, and what features you are looking for in the women and girls that will play these roles?
Right now, we are focused on finding the girls. My goal is to find the right girls before the summers, so I can make the group of friends out of them, because I think that is something that is very crucial. I want them to trust each other and to get to know each other. And what I look in girls the most is that their imagination. I don't think it's working with child actors. I don't think it's similar to working with professional actors. I think I need to be focused on their imagination and their sensibility. I want them to feel safe, and that is why we started casting really early, so we will have enough time for them to feel safe to explore their emotions and to be open about it. That is.
Thank you. And Charna, so what are the next steps for Nobody Said Anything? Are you already exploring some international partnerships, or what areas interest you?
Yes, thank you. So as Tamara previously said, we are starting the shooting in December 2025 with the premiere set for 2026. We have already secured our national funding and mini slate. The project was part of our slate. We already have partners in Croatia and Slovenia. Since we are speaking basically the same language, these countries are perfect for casting options. However, we are looking for key artistic partners within the post-production stage. We would focus on countries such as France, Germany, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, and any other countries which are willing to come on board. And yes, we're looking for sales, broadcasters, festivals, any partners who find this project compelling as we do. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And so we move to another project in development, and I invite on stage the director of Bakmoon, Frank van den Boogaard, who is from the Netherlands. So shout out, Netherlands, but based in Belgium.
Hello, my name is Frank van den Boogaard. I'm a Dutch filmmaker based in Belgium. I'm currently developing Bakmoon, a 50-minute folk horror short with autobiographical roots. These autobiographical roots start in a small village where I grew up. There was a very strong macho culture there, but I found a lot of safety and solace in a friendship I had. But after moving to the city, I found myself very sad, missing my friend. I found myself so sad that it confused me because I felt lovesick, and I didn't really know what that meant. So that's the starting point of Bakmoon. Bakmoon is set during an annual folkloric village festival where only men are allowed. And the men present, they mock an old village legend by doing a theatrical ritual. All the men wear fake antlers. The antlers represent their masculinity. But one of the men is dressed as the buck, the mythical creature from the village legend. And this buck tries to harvest and steal the men's antlers, but they won't allow it because for the men, it's a celebration of their masculinity. This brings us to Noah, our androgynous main character, who's 25 years old, and he recently moved to the city. He gets a very disturbing message from his childhood friend, Sam, and he decides to leave the city in search for his childhood friend and finds him at the Bakmoon festival in their hometown, but he's in an unrecognizable state. The ritual starts and it's chaotic, and Noah tries to connect with Sam, but he fails to connect. Sam is angry and dismissive towards him, so Noah feels very unsafe and out of place, and he flees into the forest, leaving Sam alone. And Sam, finding himself alone, has a moment of introspectivity, and suddenly his head starts to bleed, and real antlers grow out of his head. This startles him, so he decides to go into the forest as well in search for Noah. When they're in the forest, everything changes and becomes more magical. The real buck, so the mythical creature, spawns and appears in the forest. Noah and Sam find each other, and Noah helps Sam shed his antlers, so pulling out his antlers, making Sam vulnerable again and giving them the space to reconnect. The folk horror aesthetic of Bakmoon is in line with films like The Witch by Robert Eggers or Midsommar by Ari Aster. And Bakmoon explores the complexities of masculinity, male friendship, and vulnerability. And I think with the current state of toxic masculinity and the manosphere on the rise, this tender horror short is extremely important to tell. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Frank. We welcome on stage to join you Martin Dolander, the producer of Bakmoon. And we start with the first question. Tender horror, I like it. You regularly work with genre, and this is clearly a language that you are attracted to and that you master. Can you tell us about your experience and approach working with folk horror, and why are you drawn to it to tell your stories?
As long as I can remember, I'm really drawn to folklore and mythology, and I think it also has to do with growing up in a rural environment. And so I always loved this, and even next to my film school, I did some mythology courses at the university just for a hobby. And I think it's a folk horror is a folk horror genre in the broad sense is a way of making some stuff that's hard to talk about visual. So I think it's a very visual way of telling stories. And to define folk horror the way I use it, it's not with jump scares or anything. It's just a very dark atmosphere, and I think that's very important as well for films, the atmosphere. And and particularly for Buck Moon, I think the folk horror aesthetic could be nice because I don't think a lot of manosphere guys want to watch a movie about male vulnerability, but I hope with this folk horror aesthetic I can lure them in and then trap them into becoming one of us.
Great trick. So the discourse about masculinity and its crisis is very topical today, as you mentioned. So Noah, the protagonist, has broken out of the schemes of traditional macho culture to pursue his own identity, while his friend Sam is trapped in the stereotypes imposed by patriarchal society. But will the story be told only from one point of view or from both, or what's your stance?
The story will be told from both point of views. I think Noah is the main character, but we start the film in a sort of a prologue with Sam. So we get to see Sam in his own environment, and then we see Noah in his own environment. And then when they come together, I think the central focus of the film is their friendship. So they kind of switch being the main perspective, but I think the main perspective is Noah. But yeah, it's actually both of them and their friendship, I think. Yeah.
And a question for you, Martin. Yeah, you can perhaps, if you want, tell us more about the timeline of the film to bring it to screen. Who do you hope to meet here at ESP Coproduction Forum?
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for sticking with us a little bit longer. This is my first collaboration with Frank as a director, but we've known each other already a bit longer because he's also a talented editor and first AD and everything you can imagine in the film world. So this film is in advanced development for the moment. We have secured our national funding and then also our semi-automatical tech shelter in Belgium. And next week we are going to defend at the French-speaking site in Wallonia to also get some funding there. So at the moment we're at 70 to 75%, and we want to find this other 20-25% with a co-producer, preferably France or another European country where minority co-production funding for short films are made possible. We are in this development also in casting process. We have found an incredibly good new talent in Belgium, our main actor, Bavo Bas, that is, as a non-binary actor, the perfect role for our main role, and we're still casting the other roles. We are also looking here, of course, not only for co-producers, but also for sales, distributors, broadcasters who are looking for genre projects that stick out not only in the genre, but also in a deeper level in a drama about emotional intelligence. So come and talk to us. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. And now coming to our next project, I welcome on stage the director of the film, Bertolt Vajruti, coming from Germany, and the project is Fatherland.
Yeah, hi, my name is Bertolt Vajruti. I'm a German-Indonesian filmmaker based in Berlin. My project is called Vaterland, which is a 25-minute short film with comedic tones, kind of about my own confusion about my racial identity. Because I'm mixed-raced, but in Germany I'm often seen as a foreigner. I get into these situations where people are really confused because I have a super German name but not a very German face, but also I get into these racial profiling situations with the police. But then when I go to Indonesia, it's kind of the opposite. And in the back, you can see a photo. This is the exact moment where I become white, because these boys really wanted to take a photo with me, because to them, I'm so obviously a bule, like a Westerner. And a friend of mine took this photo and posted it to Instagram with the caption, "This is the moment Bertie wondered where his life went wrong." And as you can see from the expression on my face, he was kind of right. Because I do try to really belong, but obviously I do become white when I'm in Indonesia, because in Germany I'm very broke. I go over there, I can invite my cousins who are doctors and lawyers and stuff for dinner, and really with the privileges that I enjoy, there's nothing really different from me to any random Australian tourist who goes to Indonesia to do yoga in a rice field. So Vaterland follows Yanto, who's a 20-something-year-old German-Indonesian man who, kind of like myself, doesn't look very German, but is very German inside, meaning that he's very neurotic and self-policing. And he travels to Indonesia to visit his younger sister, Sarah, who studies at an art institute in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, and lives kind of the hipster high life in the art scene. And these feelings of jealousy arise because she fits in a lot better than he does. The film is told in 4 chapters, the first and last of which are set in Germany, and the second and third of which are in Indonesia. It's a big chunk of the film. But each of these chapters is sort of built around a moment where a photo or a video is taken as a means to include or exclude someone from a group. So this film really plays with the theme of images and self-image, which is something I'm always self-conscious about. Like for this pitch, I grew a beard because I feel a lot more comfortable talking about racism when I have a beard, even though it's very scratchy. So that's what the film's about. It's kind of this awkwardness and hilarity of experiencing your race on a sliding scale. And yeah, thank you very much.
So we welcome on stage a producer, one of the producers, Jonas Eckert. So, Bertolt, comedy clearly seems to play a central role in Vaterland, and I guess it does in your work in general. So what does comedy allow you to explore, like in your films, cinematically, narratively, and especially in relation to these themes?
Yeah, what I like about comedy is I think that it allows you to explore situations that seem very silly or stupid, but there may be very complex dynamics at play. Like, for example, there's a scene in the script where Yanto gets into kind of a pissing contest with a guy called Mark, he's a white guy from the Netherlands who lives in Indonesia, but he speaks really good Indonesian and kind of pesters Yanto why his Indonesian is so bad and that he should really move there to explore his roots. But then it actually turns out that this guy Mark is also 25% Indonesian, so Yanto feels like he needs to gatekeep Indonesianness as someone who's 50% Indonesian, and starts bragging about his Indonesian grandfather who killed a lot of Dutch people in the Indonesian War of Independence. So it's a really stupid kind of superficial kind of conversation, but underneath there's the dynamic of a play and these questions of like who gets to claim heritage to a culture and who gets to belong in a culture, but also as a filmmaker I'm interested in the questions of who has the right to tell which stories. And comedy for me is something I've explored in short films before. I've made comedy shorts before that played at South by and won prizes, but we're also developing a feature that's set in the Indonesian diaspora in Germany that we're doing through the Comedy Lab at the Torino Film Lab. So it's also kind of my way of dealing with my issues, I suppose.
In some chapters, the film follows Yanto. He visits his sister in Indonesia, and you said there is emotional tension, particularly around jealousy. Maybe could you tell us more about the structure of the film? I mean, the chapters and the different layers or emotional dimensions that each part of the story brings?
Well, as I said, these chapters are all built around these sort of small instances of inclusion or exclusion. And I find sibling relationships very interesting because I have been dealing with these questions all my life, but I have 2 sisters who are a lot cooler than me, and they don't they don't care, even though we have the same DNA. So I'm really interested in these like sort of small instances where I think identity is created, or rather identity is created for someone, and how that can be different in a sibling relationship, even though everything, like the conditions should be the same.
And final question for Jonas. So Vaterland is already a co-production between Germany and Indonesia. So moving forward, what kind of additional partners are you looking to bring on board?
Yeah, we have like, the financing is nearly closed. We have like kind of 80% from German regional funds and German broadcasters in place already. And we also plan to shoot in September this year, the Indonesian part, which is executed by our co-production company over there. But still, there's like some percentage left, and we are looking for European co-production partners. And we have an idea, because we want to shoot analog, and there's a wonderful film and development lab in Belgium. So maybe there's an option to find some partners over there for the tech shelter, or maybe somewhere else, also to build up a stronger and longer relationship for the future. Bertolt was mentioning already. So yeah, looking for, and also of course, even though it's a bit early, maybe looking for distributors to get into touch with and festivals.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this was our last project in development, and believe it or not, now we have our very last presentation of the day, which is our last work in progress, Controverse. Welcome on stage director Zuzana Nasinska from Poland and based in the Netherlands. Woohoo!
Thank you. I hope you still have some energy left. This is going to be brief. So my name is Zuzana Nasinska. You might have seen my previous film, Grandma, Mama on Sister Cat, that won the Teddy Award at the Berlinale last year. And here I am with Controverse, which is a short, darkly humoristic experimental film about a 102-year-old woman whose hand you see there, and a stone, which is not the actual stone. The Controverse stone has been found in the village of Controverse in Poland and has stirred quite a controversy because of unexplainable petroglyphs etched on its surface. And within the film, I cannot, due to its length, I cannot go into all the interpretations, but I chose one that captivated me the most, which was a folk tale about a girl who became possessed and then killed her mother with the stone, and then became exorcised by a local priest, and this exorcism left the marks. And I'm taking this story as a starting point and creating a speculation that her spirit became trapped in the stone, and with the stone's unearthing, the spirit gets released and starts to travel to find a place where it can finally have peace. And in this journey, the spirit finds my 102-year-old grandmother, who's also stuck not in a stone, but in her living room, where she's waiting for death. And the two start a surreal dialogue about the liminal space between life and death, and about possession, and thinking through possession as a kind of release of intergenerational trauma. And there's a short excerpt.
Przecież duszy nie można włożyć do trumny. A ciało no, zgnije, że tak powiem. Jak to dziś jest na dworze? Ciepło czy chłodno? Ciepło? Aha. Nie, to u góry słońce to jest świństwo skończone, bo to jest sztuczne. Ten kamień ojciec z księdzem zakopali i przestraszyłam się i zrobiłam się jakaś obłąkana. Połaziłam do lasu i tam siedziałam pół dnia.
Thank you. Yeah, we welcome.
Of the film. Thank you. So, now that the mic is working, the question for you, Zuza. Yeah, there is this fascinating premise of the film, the mysterious tone, the spirit trapped in it, released, traveling in the body of your grandmother. There is a dialogue that ensues between them. And then the way you will work is that you will combine archival materials, documentary and stage scenes. And maybe you can tell us more about what we will see on the screen over the duration of the film.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, so before I've been working a lot with archives, and this is quite a step forward for me because now I'm realizing footage with my grandma and around the stone as well. But in a sense, I'm also treating it as if I'm collecting an archive that connects both the reality of my grandma and the reality of the stone. So I have shot quite a lot around the vicinity of the stone, and I'm really believing also that in like situated practices which kind of also place me and all the different layers that surround this story and make me explore even the most seemingly unrelated characters that will appear on screen, like for example chickens or fish in aquariums, but believe me, they're very much related. And so I have shot a lot with macro lenses to create this like very surreal and alien feel, so that we travel with the spirit. And one of the most important things as well is the sound, as I use sound very much. Like I do the sound design, I also edit, and my practice of editing is very visceral, and I record a lot of sound effects also by myself. So together with my grandma, we're also creating kind of a soundtrack as she is singing, and the spirit embodies different kind of voices, and the voice kind of mutates as we move on through the film. So in the end, we're kind of like connecting our three voices across time.
Thank you very much. And Alexandra, so Zuza has a very specific artistic approach, as we have heard, and working process. So what kind of partners are you looking for in order to support them in the next steps up to the completion of the film?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Lovely to see you. Maybe I will tell more about, in general, at the stage as well, at the very beginning. But of course, as a producer, my main goal is like constantly creating the best possible environment for Zuza's unique method of working. And the part of this method actually is being in the process of being in between in production and editing at the same time. So that's why we surround ourselves with mentors and with advisors, and we consult on different aspects of the projects, for example, editing, as we did during the European short pitch, but also the producing side and the distribution side. We also see a space for another work in progress industry event in the second part of this year, as we plan the picture lock by the end of this year in general. So in terms of the financing, like we are in talks with the Polish Film Institute to finalize the budget, but we are actually really open for the NL Film Fund, as Zuza is based in Amsterdam. So to finally finalize and sum up our pitch, actually we focus right now on planning the post-production and creating the festival strategy. So if you're a post-producer, sales agent, or a programmer interested in stones, let's connect. Thank you very much.
A bit sad, actually. I don't know for you, but for us.
It's already
all
over.
this month of preparation.
I know.
3 hours.
It was flying by. But yeah, there we go. I mean, thank you for sticking around, and we hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did from our side.
Yeah. No, we have to give a big round of applause to all the participants, because that was great. They were really... Yeah. They really shared touching stories, political stories, stories infused with fantasy. We traveled with you guys. They were all very human stories, so thank you so much for so generously sharing that with us. I think that's also a little moment to share a bit of thanks to ESP team, the great ESP team. So Olga La Montanara, the head of the Coproduction Forum, Laoma Kodzite, the coordinator, Juana Guerra, the industry coordinator, Pauline Blanchet, the communication and social media manager, and Filomena Oporto, our coordination assistant. And
Julie Marnet, head of European Short Pitch, of course.
And yeah. Thank you. Love. And also, we want to thank very much. It's been a huge team effort. We want to congratulate and thank again the Leiden Shorts team. So Niv Fuchs, the director, thank you so much. Tassos Malios, the industry coordinator. Stavros Markoulakis, who is an ESP participant of last year and a programmer at the Leiden Shorts. And Maria Stanciulescu, the industry assistant. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get to the drinks now. Some last information, practical information.
Wait a second, don't leave. So a few things. First of all, we don't have this nice QR code anymore, but anyways, you know where, we do. You know where to find, these projects and these people to book meetings with them, especially for our on-site guests, lovely people in the room. You have time until 7 p.m. this evening to book your meetings, to request your meetings for tomorrow. And then, after that, I guess we can...
No, we will not mention the drinks again. I will mention that we will take a picture of the participants, our partners, our lovely jury. And so you stay with us, and the other ones, you can have your drinks on the roof, right? Yes. And so we are joining you in a few minutes to celebrate.
Yes.
And thank you so much. And then there is a panel.
Stick around for the panel. We will be back in this room at 6, so like in less than 1 hour. But have a drink first, relax and enjoy.
Thank you.